Hello. YouTube time? I suppose so. You're working, so you're here in spirit. Well, thank you. I appreciate the spiritual assist. I was trying to think of a better thing to say. I got nothing. Oh man, so I've got a bit of a... Is there a dark mode on this program? One second, because I have a bit of a headache. Is there a dark mode? No. Okay, wait. Interface mode. Ooh, no, docking. Lights out. That's dark mode. It's still a giant white canvas. So it doesn't really do anything. Let me, let's, change of pace today. We'll do a gray canvas. Ooh, yeah. That's so much easier on my eyes. And we'll draw a white. Like those, I don't know if you guys ever even know what I'm talking about. But there used to be these things. I'm not really certain what they are. They were like paper with some kind of weird overlay. I don't exactly know what it was. Some kind of material stretched over the surface. And the gimmick of it was that you would pick off or scrape off whatever this black substance was to reveal the white paper underneath. That's the vibe this gives me. All right, there we go. All right. I'm gonna start with drawing a Ryu. Can you draw something for me? Hey, I mean, I can't stop you if you want to. It would be cool. It would be awesome. I would be appreciative, as they say. I think I made his ear too weirdly proportioned. It's maybe a little bit better. We got the Pokemon Platinum music for today, by the way. Just for fun. Where can you send it? Fuck, where can you send it? You could tweet it at me. You could email it to me. That's probably it, right? I don't think the Twitter is in the bio of this, or in the description of this stream. But I think if you go to like the channel or something, or like another video, it'll have the Twitter in the bio, or the email in the bio as well. Probably you could probably send it to either of those. Twitter, x.com. So when it first became x.com, I called it x.com because I thought it was like funny. You know, like I thought it was like, ha, isn't it so dumb? Email, it's weezerenjoyeryt@gmail.com if you want to send it there. I'll write it on the screen. 1 second. Like that. When they first changed its name to X from Twitter, I was like, oh, that's so funny, that's so dumb. I'm gonna call it x.com because it's like stupid and funny. But then people started actually calling it X, and all like the networks and stuff started replacing the Twitter logo with the X logo. And now if you call it X, I immediately assume that you're like a weird like Grok person, that you're like the kind of person who goes like, oh my god, Grok is the future of information technology, and Grok sexy mode is going to like replace real people for me, you know? I think it was Elon said that. He was like, oh boy, Awooga, Grok sexy mode is gonna change your life. And then some guy, weird Elon Musk reply guy in the comments was like, what do you call him on Twitter? The replies was like, oh, Elon, how could you release this when we're all so concerned? Because that's another weird Elon thing, is he's so concerned about like declining population rates. He's like, population rates are declining, which is what I must have 11 children whom I do not take care of. Um, and um, and some guy in the comments was like, Elon, if you're so concerned about population rates, Grok sexy mode is gonna drop them so much because everybody's gonna only spend time with Grok sexy mode instead of real people. It's awesome. Yeah, I hate AI. Like, I think that there are certainly applications for AI. Like, I've heard a lot of it being used to great effect in, like, the medical field. You know, where it's just able to execute higher degrees of precision than a human would be. But, like, so many of the AI uses right now are just, like, it feels like a couple of years ago when everything was meant to be on the blockchain. You know? When NFTs were first becoming a thing and everybody was like, oh man, this is awesome. I'm gonna like send my buddy a birthday card on the blockchain and I'm gonna like buy a monkey on the blockchain and I'm going to XYZ on the blockchain. Just everything was blockchain all the time. And then the fad died out and now, as far as I'm aware, we're only using the blockchain for things that, like, it makes sense to use the blockchain for. Like, we've gone past that initial hype, and now it's largely, I'd imagine, more practical uses for technology. That's, I think, and this isn't a controversial opinion, that's probably what's going to happen with AI, is all these companies are like, use AI, use AI, use AI, and I'm like, no! But eventually we'll get to the point where they stop doing that. Hopefully, I don't know. Maybe we never will. Maybe we'll be stuck with Grok sexy mode till the end of days. Grok. Why is it called Grok? Because I know like ChatGPT is like short for something, right? Like GPT means like it's some kind of term relevant to the technology. Where does Grok come from? I think I made his skull too fucking big. He's like me. Yeah, he's got a big forehead. Let's give him like hair like sticking out from under the headband. Hide the Norwood one a little bit. I think, okay, yeah, his forehead is way too fucking big. Alright, I am going to, because, I don't know, the white on the gray, just, I don't like. I'm gonna go back to normal mode, I think. And see if it makes my headache better or worse. Okay, you know what? I think I can survive. I think I'll survive. Alright. Let's start again. Where's the guy? I need a sense of scale. Alright. I'm gonna become one of those people who uses ChatGPT for everything. Like, every decision I make has to be run through ChatGPT. That is crazy to me. Like, that people do that. You know, like, I understand on some level that there's a lot of people who use ChatGPT, but I always assume that they're using it to, like, cheat on assignments or, I don't know, organize their grocery list or whatever. But the fact that there are so many people who use it, like, all the time for everything is actually insane to me. Because as somebody who, like, just... Because I've never really been, like, even when it was in its more rudimentary stages, I was never a digital assistant guy. You know, I never used Siri. I never used any, like, the Google things. I'm kind of like a low-tech old man boomer. Like, I was gifted a, what do you call it? Like, the little Google thing that you plug into your house and, like, you talk to it and it, like, plays music or answers your questions or whatever. And I didn't use it. Like, I gave it back to them and I was like, I'm sorry, I'm not going to use this, just because I don't like using those things. I think it's a weird, like, neurodivergency thing, is that I don't like using those. there's something about the intangibility of voice commands that I don't like. I'd much rather just like do it myself. You know, so I'm just not the target audience for a lot of this AI stuff. But with that being said, like there are circumstances obviously where I'm like, yeah, okay, that's a reasonable circumstance to use AI in. You know, stuff that's too mundane for a human to understand. I've heard it's really good with like coding. But people who are like, actually, Suno AI creates better music than a real musician ever could. I had somebody tell me that. I had somebody tell me like, you know, pretty soon there's going to be AI that's better at music than any person. And you're going to be out of a job. I actually remember my my uncle. So I have an uncle, as many people do. And I saw him, I think it was Easter? Was it Easter? It was sometime, I don't know. I saw him like a while ago, a few months ago. And one of the first things he says to me is, so Weezer Enjoyer. That's how he talks. He goes, so Weezer Enjoyer. How are you going to incorporate AI into your lifestyle? And I was like, I don't know, I probably won't. And he was like, why not? Don't you want to be ahead of the curve? You don't want to get left behind? And I was like, I don't know. What am I going to use AI for? It was awesome. I kept going like, no, man, you got to use AI. You got to use ChatGPT or else. You get left behind. Then again, I mean, his forehead too big again. I keep doing it. I keep giving him this giant forehead. I think I'm putting his features, or his eyes at least, too low on his face. I think is the issue. Dude, there are some people who are like really weird about AI. Like there's, I think, a normal level of excitement to be about AI. Like I know a guy who is, I'm trying to think of how like I describe this without giving away too much personal information about this guy. Is he's like an AI, or not an AI, he's a, oh god, it's so hard to talk about it without just telling you what he does. He works in a field of electronics that benefits greatly from AI. Let's put it that way. And so as a result, he keeps up quite a bit with all the AI stuff, you know, to make sure that when he in his field, he's using the most effective technology to get the jobs done. And that's reasonable, I think. And I think that there are like other forms of AI that you can be excited about and that you can be passionate about and researching. But so many weird people on the internet are just like, look, I have asked ChatGPT to generate me my beautiful waifu. I will have no need for 3D women anymore. It's like, all right, that's weird. Like there are people who seem to be so excited at the prospect of AI replacing like everything, which is insane to me. Should you draw inspires you to do it again? Do it. It's awesome. One of the great decisions I made in my life was to enjoy doing things I'm bad at, you know? I think there's a beautiful, there's a beauty, I think, in amateur art. Or amateur anything. You know, like as a relatively, like a reasonably competent musician, I do get a lot of joy from watching people who are like clearly, you know, beginners or like intermediates doing it out of passion. And I think that, you know, once I realized that feeling is probably relatively universal, because here's my opinion. Here's a Weezer Enjoyer life wisdom. Is and this is a cliche, but I do think it's true. As much as I hate to sound like a cliche, is a lot of people don't like to see other people succeed in areas that they wish they could. So a lot of people who are poor artists, right? Or let me rephrase. People who like aren't artists, will see you draw poorly and like judge you harshly for it, because you're putting in the work that they don't and that they wish they would, right? But like somebody who's actually good and passionate and whose opinion you should actually value on a given discipline has been where you are, and they recognize how difficult it is. So I have a lot of buddies who are like artists or graphic designers or whatever of some sort, And anytime I show them my art, they're never like, this fucking sucks, never do this again. You know, they might make fun of it, but in like a, you know, you're drawing this really weird, you should do this, and you're drawing this really weird, and whatever. Because I think that as somebody who is good at something, you've been where the amateur is, and you want to like kind of guide them through the thing that you're so passionate about. And I do that with music. You know, when I see somebody mess up on an instrument, they always get immediately defensive. And they look at me and they go like, oh man, like I swear I'm normally better. And it's like, no, like I'm not judging you. I've been exactly where you are right now. So, you know, don't even worry about it. You'll get better. And this is just the step in the pathway. I'm not judging you for where you've yet to be. I'm judging you where you're at. And relative to the fact that most people never pick up an instrument, you're doing great. But like people who aren't musicians, I remember when I first, here's some Weezer Enjoyer lore. I play the bagpipes, is Weezer Enjoyer lore. So when I first was learning the bagpipes, I learned like a tune. I learned Bluebells of Scotland. And I was like so excited to show it to my friends. I was like, guys, like I wanna show you guys this first thing I learned on the bagpipes. And I made a few mistakes, as you do when you're learning an instrument. And my friends, a couple of friends of mine who are not musicians, who have never tried to learn or have never like, you know, learned an instrument, and they've given up on it pretty quickly, were really like mean and really harsh about my mistakes. People who are not musicians. And I think that's just a dick thing to do. I think people are assholes to learners, and I think people, because your average person makes up excuses, I think. And I do this in aspects too. This isn't me saying like, and I never do this, because I do this in aspects as well. Is there are elements of every person's life that they want to improve. There are skills they want to learn, changes they want to make, things they want to do, and you know, a lot of things are doable through action. The amount of times I've had a drunk guy come up to me at a party and go, bro, like, you're like a musician? That's like crazy. Like, I wish I could never, but they could. Everybody could. It's a learned skill, just like drawing, just like a language, just like math or engineering or particle physics. It's entirely a learned skill. And I think that so many people aren't willing to subject themselves to the ordeal of trying and failing enough times to get good at something, that they just make excuses. I know for a fact that I do that with a lot of things. There are a lot of things in my life that I think I should change, but I make excuses, even though rationally I recognize that it's all entirely actionable. And I think people who do that, when they see another person doing the thing they wish they could but make excuses about, they get defensive. So that's all to say. I was always so afraid of being judged harshly for art and for Street Fighter. I've mentioned this before, is I put off making the YouTube channel for a long time, even though I wanted to, because I was like, but I'm not good enough at the game. People will like make fun of me. And yeah, sometimes people come into the comments and they're mean, but like, who fucking cares? The vast majority of people are at the very worst going like, hey man, this is kind of a really rough spot in your gameplay, you should probably improve this, and they're correct. Or it's people going like, you know, good video, man. And I think that once you overcome the fear of judgment like that, and you just approach something with genuine passion, I think that the passion, even more so than the skill, shines through. Weezer Enjoyer philosophy stream, by the way. I'm great at talking, thank you. I do take a certain amount of pride in that. Although that's another thing that's a skill, right? Is you gotta stumble over your words and fumble to find and trip over your sentences. You gotta use a bunch of clunky metaphors before you get halfway decent at throwing them together. Gotta clock out at work? Hell yeah. Do you have a punch card? I worked a job once where we had like a digital clock in, clock out system, and that was always really weird to me, because if I was early to clock in or late to clock out, they would just pay me for the hours that were on my schedule. So let's say I was working 9 to 3, right? If I clocked in at 8:30 and clocked out at 3:30, I still get paid for just the hours of my schedule, the 9 to 3. So why have us clock out? I just never understood it. Like, if you're only gonna pay us for the time that we're working, and if we end up working a little bit early or leaving a little bit late, but the clock doesn't respect that, why bother having us clock out? Why don't you just pay us for what's on the schedule? Anyway, it was really weird. But then, many years later, I worked elsewhere. I worked at a funeral home for a little bit when I was a teenager. And we had like an old-fashioned punch card. I had my little paper card, and I would put it in the machine, and I'd press the button, and it would punch a timestamp into it. It would be down to the second. And it was kind of awesome. And that job, actually, because the hours were so weird, because sometimes you'd need to come in really early to do something, so they hired me, because I may have talked about this before on the stream. They hired me to work there because a lot of the people working there were older people, or just like, physically smaller people who weren't quite as physically able to do like heavy lifting as like a 17, 18, 19-year-old young man was able to do. So my job was basically just glorified carrier. I put on my crappy suit and went in there every day and emptied the trash and carried it to the dumpster. And that was basically my job. All the flowers at the end of the day that people would bring when it became time, when they decided they didn't want to take them home and it came time to get rid of them, it was my job to carry like 30 pounds of flowers to the dumpster. Yeah, so the time card actually made quite a bit of sense there, because quite frequently I was clocking in at odd times different than my schedule, and I was clocking out almost always later than I was scheduled to, because I had to bring in the ashtrays, or I had to carry a sound system or whatever. So I was quite frequently one of the last people out of there. So that was a situation where I was like, yeah, okay, it makes sense to have. There's Ryu, by the way. It makes sense, I think, in that situation to have a time card where your hours are so wildly fluctuating. But in a job where you're only going to pay us for our hour schedule, just pay us for our hour schedule. Don't have us clock in and clock out. You know what I guess it was? I'm pretty punctual. It was drilled into me from a pretty young age that you gotta be on time or you're like a dick, you're like a bad person. So now I overshoot, and I'm like far too early quite frequently to a lot of things. Where was I going with this? Oh yeah, so I'm always pretty punctual. I'm always pretty good at getting to places on time. And when I'm not, I try to make a point to communicate that to... Alright, what am I gonna draw now? Let's draw Goku. I'm gonna pull up a reference image of Goku. But I'd imagine the point of that job that would only pay you for the schedule, it's probably so that if you got there late, they could deny you that time when not paying you for if you stayed. Oh, my headphones are falling off my head. Oh, shit. So my headphones that I have are really old, and they still work fine. Everything about the electronics is still awesome. But the pad on the left ear has separated itself. So what I have to do when I put these headphones on is I have to put the foam pad against my ear and then put the like actual headphone section, the plastic bit, and sandwich the pad between my ear and the plastic part. Pardon me. Which is awesome. And by awesome, I mean horribly frustrating. So, excuse me. Sometimes if I move my head too much or too quickly, what will end up happening is the pad will come loose, and that's what's holding the headphones in place, and the whole headphones fall off. It's great. All right, I'm going to import a reference image real quick, but I think it might show like my file directories as I do that. So I'm just going to really quickly hide that. This is a banger. But by the way, gotta scroll past. So I screenshotted this picture, and then I gotta scroll past another screenshot I took of Darkside Phil. Alright. Oh, you guys can't even see the reference image. Awesome. I was at Street Fighter. I was at a Street Fighter tournament. When was it? a month ago, about a month ago, and oh, excuse me. And when I was there, I'm gonna make the reference image bigger. When I was there, I had like some controllers in my bag just in case anybody needed to borrow a controller. You would approve of using reference images? That's something that I was like weird about for a long time. I was like, I'm only gonna draw things from like memory. I'm not gonna use reference images. But it is crazy how much better it is when you have a reference image. My goal at this point is to get good enough that I can draw like a decent Goku from memory, or like a decent, you know, Ryu or whatever, just so that I can like walk around like there's like a pen, like a paper somewhere. I can just like doodle Goku, and like that's my goal. I don't know if I've ever talked about this. My goal with art is just so that like if I'm near like a whiteboard, I can doodle a funny Goku. That's entirely my goal. It's just to be able to like doodle Super Saiyan 3 in random places, which I think is a fucking admirable goal. Can you guess who I main? Well, civilized individual immediately makes me think Dudley. You know, like classy. How did you know? Lucky guess. Hard read. You have to exaggerate the angles on this a little bit more. That looks better, I think. Whoa, what is this one? I don't remember this song. Listen to that piano, Jesus. Sorry, I gotta snort to clear my nose. Give me one moment, I'm muting myself. Alright, I'm back. Okay, I think I'm gonna have to adjust. Ooh, crap. I have to adjust the structure here. This art thing is fucking hard. Listen to that piano go, Jesus Christ. That's actually like so cool. Maybe I shouldn't have just erased that. Maybe I should just modify. I'm gonna move this forward a little bit, I think. You know, I'd always heard like the reason that Super Saiyan 3 basically never gets used in Dragon Ball is because it's a nightmare to draw and like a nightmare to animate. Which I think is the same reason they got rid of the Saiyan tails, I remember hearing, is because they were just like obnoxious to draw and obnoxious to animate. And I was always like, oh, but it's so cool. Like, it's just so sick. Why would you not use Super Saiyan 3 more? And then I remember sitting down to try to draw Super Saiyan 3 and I was like, oh yeah. Oh yeah, no, there's so much hair, and keeping track of like where it is in motion and stuff. Oh, this looks like shit. This looks really bad. Wait, fuck. You know what? Let me try a different approach. Oh, this looks like shit. Whatever, whatever. I'll fix it later. I'll fix it in post. Oh, that was so bad. Wait, okay, I'm already restarting. wait, okay. Yeah, I think so. I think the reason that, because I think Toriyama, at that point, by the time Super Saiyan rolls around, I think he was just drawing it, and he had, like, assistants doing the inking. And I think because, you know, I guess manga in general, right? But every character in Dragon Ball has, like, black hair. And I think I do think the people doing his inking, like, his assistants, were like, dude, like, please. So I think he gave him light hair and light eyes specifically because of that. Alright, I'm gonna zoom out a little bit. I think I'm too zoomed in. Power Hungry Fool. I don't know. I don't even know what that is, I'm afraid. I'm gonna do the rough thing where you do a rough outline of the head. Might help. Oh, I gotta sneeze. Muted myself just in time for that sneeze. Oh, I gotta sneeze again. Wait. I don't know why I'm sneezing so much today. It's just cold, I guess. Alright, and then I draw. Seamless mute. Thank you, thank you. I'm a god. I do also like, though, because the VTuber is controlled PNG tuber. Somebody's gonna go like, actually, it is a PNG tuber. So the PNG tuber is controlled in a different program than I'm streaming from. So as a result, if I mute here, but I make any sort of sound, the mouth still moves. And I noticed that because I remember muting to like talk to somebody, and the VTuber was still moving. So I think when I sneeze, you'll see the VTuber like move in response to my sneeze. I'm considering, so as I understand it, so I use a program called ViatoTube Mini. ViatoTube Mini? ViatoTube Mini, yeah. And it's awesome. And as I understand it, there's a way to set it up that you can have something slightly more complex than what I'm using. You can add special animations and special states and stuff. So I'm thinking about making a special one, but I don't know what I would do. The one that occurred to me, the special animation, was... so for anybody who didn't catch, there was like a 2-stream window, I think, where I was talking about Mary Brown's Chicken, which is a chicken restaurant here in Canada. It's like Canadian, you know, Popeyes or KFC or whatever. And I was joking about trying to get them to sponsor me to go to EVO, like for them to pay my way to EVO. So I kept like winning, and I go like, yeah, send that shit to Mary Brown's Chicken. It was very funny. Like, comment, subscribe, ring the bell. And I did consider briefly, because let me show you 1 second. Because I made a VTuber that had like a Mary Brown's hat on. Oh, did I not save it? Oh shit. Okay, I didn't save it. 1 second. Let me just import the image. It looked like that. You're only gonna see it like when it's not blinking, when I'm not talking, but it looks like this. So it was wearing a Mary Brown's hat. And it was very funny. So I considered making one of the animations like me eating a Mary Brown's chicken sandwich, the Big Mary. What is happening? I'm talking about cool things. I'm having the unhinged ramblings of a Third Strike YouTuber, I think. I gotta sneeze again. Man, I'm fighting demons today. Oh god, wait. Man, what will happen if I learn to draw? I did have somebody once comment on a drawing, because, you know, I post a lot of drawings on the community tab. Not so much lately, because I just haven't had as much time to draw things that I'm like proud enough of to put on the community tab. But I remember posting when this was a little bit ago, and it was like better than what I had been doing previously. And somebody commented like, "No, you can't get good at art, it'll ruin your channel branding," which I thought was really funny. Found me from YouTube recommendations, staying for the Mary Brown's Chicken. Yes! Mary Brown's Chicken. So I actually, after I did that stream where I talked about Mary Brown's Chicken, oh, sorry, my brain's shutting off. I'm trying to like analyze the hairline of my reference image while also talking. You know, being a YouTuber is hard work, man. I'm basically like a coal miner. I like when YouTubers try to say that. They go like, "Oh, being a streamer is actually like the hardest job ever," which is a lie. What was I fucking saying? Oh yeah, Mary Brown. So after that stream that I did where I talked about Mary Brown's Chicken, I then like a day or two later went out and got Mary Brown's Chicken, and it was good, but it did run right through me. It did do like evil, terrible things to my stomach. I took a photo, and I think I forgot to post it, but I took a photo of, like, I have a little Ryu plush, and I took a photo of it next to the Mary Brown's Chicken, and I was going to post it, but I completely forgot to. So I'm going to do that, I think, after the stream, if I remember to. Somebody remind me of that. Somebody, like, email me at weezerenjoyeryt@gmail.com, and remember to do that. Sorry, one second. I got a cough. I'm back. Alright. Big Super Saiyan Bang. Actually, I'll draw the rest of his features first before I do this big Super Saiyan Bang. I think I also need to angle his forehead in a little bit. Or I guess it's Super Saiyan 3. I need to angle his forehead out. Toriyama did kind of make like the coolest thing ever, the coolest design ever, and then nerf the crap out of it. It's so funny. Super Saiyan 3 is my favorite transformation in the entire series. Because I think it looks cool. I think that Super Saiyan is like, on Namek in particular, is a really powerful, striking aesthetic. And then Gohan Super Saiyan 2 is really powerful and striking, and you're like, how can he one-up Gohan Super Saiyan 2? And then you see Super Saiyan 3, and you're like, oh yeah, this is what like the pinnacle of Super Saiyan power should look like. You see Super Saiyan 3, and you're like, this is on like some crazy other level. This is nuts. It's so visually striking that you're like, yeah, this is the strongest form in the series. And then Super Saiyan Blue sucks, by the way. Am I gonna edit an EX Hadouken into a chicken sandwich? Almost certainly at some point. Almost certainly. I gotta wait for the joke to become more well known. Goku as Mary Brown's chicken sandwich going through Demon King. Jesus, that's a crazy suggestion. I'll draw that one after Goku. Drawing is also your passion? Hell yeah. Since it's your first time seeing you, wish the best on the art journey. Thank you. Yeah, although, you know, I gotta keep the bad drawings for the branding. Yeah, I mean, like, I do think I've gotten better. I think I'm still not yet at a point where I'm completely happy with everything I draw. There are moments where this is how I've always kind of defined artistic skill. Again, as a musician, Weezer Enjoyer Bingo brings up he's a musician 40 times. But I've always kind of defined it as being able to make a bunch of different creative decisions and then choosing the one that you think is the most artistically appropriate. Whereas somebody of a lesser skill in art or in whatever, is just going to pick the option that they know they can do. So I find myself doing that quite a bit. Is I'll have a cool idea, but I won't be able to execute it in like a particularly cool way. So I'm picking only the version of that artistic idea that I can execute, whereas there's one that I think is more artistically appropriate but that I can't do. You know, I'm picking it not based on artistry but on raw technical skill. And that's, I think, for me, the hurdle I'd like to overcome. I'd like to get to a point where I'm a little bit better at transferring what I want to draw into reality. You know, and I think I'm getting better. Super Saiyan Blue does suck though. Yes! Everybody agrees. Like, I think it would be cooler if it had build-up. It's so funny. They're just like, Frieza shows up and goes like, I'm so much more powerful. And Vegeta goes like, I'm so much more powerful too, you moron. And then just whips out this new power. And it's like, okay, cool. This sucks. There's no sauce to it. I am Dragon Ball Super's biggest hater, by the way. That's not true. That's not true. It has its moments. It's just, you know, not as good as the original. I think his face is too small. Something looks like the proportions here just look off. He looks like he has like little chubby cheeks. Let me adjust the mandibular angle. Oh, that looks like shit though. Wait. That better? Not really. Why am I so zoomed in? I'm drawing that. Oh, whoa! Why does he look like that? What the fuck? I think I gotta fix. I think there's too much space like somewhere. I think there's too much emptiness on his face. Super feels like a fan-made story. I agree. I think that's one of my issues with Super, is that, say what you will about Dragon Ball Z, and there's a lot to say about Dragon Ball Z, and original Dragon Ball as well. They're not perfect stories. But one thing you have to give them is that it does feel like Toriyama is, like, cashing in genuine creativity to make them. Whereas I think that, like, Super feels like... How do I phrase this? Dragon Ball, the original series. So, the original NZ. Face is kind of long. Ooh, that's actually a really good thing. That's a good... yeah, Dragon Ball Z feels like it's just making like cool creative decisions, and they don't always land. You know, they have their issues. Gohan, like, losing to Buu is still kind of a frustrating creative decision, but you know, whatever, right? It feels like Dragon Ball is being made, the original series is being made from a place of trying to tell a cool story, whereas I feel like Super is being made as trying to tell a cool Dragon Ball story, which to me is really distinctly different, because the original series reinvents itself several times. It goes from adventure, like Journey to the West parody, to silly martial arts manga, to far more serious martial arts manga, to space sci-fi manga, to technology sci-fi manga, to this really like weird combination of like fantasy and action and gag in the Buu arc. It reinvents itself quite frequently, whereas I've always felt like Dragon Ball Super feels like it's being written by fans, which I think is just, it's less good. I think that the fact that Dragon Ball Super feels like it's being written with the hindsight of knowing what fans like about Dragon Ball and playing into those things that fans like about Dragon Ball is kind of frustrating to me. Like the Goku Black arc, right? The Future Trunks arc. I think that's one of the stronger arcs of the series. But so much of it just feels like fan service. So much of it feels like, look, remember this? Remember this thing from the original series? That's my issue with Super, is that it feels quite frequently like, hey, remember when this happened in the original series? Like in the Tournament of Power, right? Spoilers for an anime that came out like, you know, 7 years ago or whatever. But when Piccolo like throws himself in front of the attack meant for Gohan, it's like, or no, sorry, am I thinking Resurrection F? Or does it happen in both of them? I think it happens in both of them. Or no, sorry, it is Resurrection F. I'm thinking of something different in Tournament of Power. But when Piccolo throws himself in front of Frieza's attack to protect Gohan, it's like, okay, cool, we've seen this before. This, like, isn't... Yeah, okay, I understand, it's a reference. I understand, I've seen the original series. But, like, Where's the good part? The Uzi peaked at Frieza, but the world would be a measurably worse place without Android 18. Krillin wrote that one, I think. Yeah, I think that Dragon Ball is... I think that there's this absolutely insane sequence of arcs from Piccolo Jr. at the end of Dragon Ball to like the Cell Saga, I think, is like actually crazy. How it's just basically one continuous run of greatness. And I think it's really good. And then, you know, I love Boo. Boo is my favorite part of the series, but I do understand why, like it has its issues. It's so long, and there's so much that gets set up and then never pays off. But I do still think it's, like, genuinely really good. I do enjoy Boo quite a bit. It has some of the most, like, hype moments and aura in the series. Yeah, I don't know. Like, even the stuff from Super I like. And part of that is certainly nostalgia. But there are a lot of parts of Super that I genuinely do enjoy that I still just don't think measure up. The only part of the series that I think really measures up to anything in the original series is specifically the Future Trunks arc, the Goku Black arc, before Vegito shows up. Or not even before Vegito shows up. I do think that, like, actually a lot of the stuff, even after Vegito shows up, is really good. But I think my issue with the arc is really the ending. Looks like Gotenks. Oh, fuck it. Can I change it? I'm going to change it to Gotenks. 1 second. I fucking love Gotenks. But if he's Gotenks, he's going to be smiling. I love Gotenks. Oh, fuck, I got distracted by Gotenks. What was I saying? Oh yeah, I think the ending of the Goku Black arc, I think that would be the best arc in the series, in Super, if it weren't for the fact that they go, hey, remember when Trunks goes back to the future and, like, saves his entire timeline from the androids and Cell, and he, like, avenges Gohan, and it's, like, beautiful. And the manga has this line that I don't know is in the anime, where it says, it's the last panel we see of Future Trunks in the original manga, and it's him, like, after defeating Cell or something like that. Or is it him defeating... I don't remember. It's Future Trunks having returned to the future, and it's him saying, and it says something like, you know, the future is now safe and will continue to be safe for as long as Trunks is around. And it's beautiful. Future Trunks is the GOAT, right? And I think that giving him, like, the hero's ending that he's so earned, and letting him avenge future Gohan, who is also the GOAT, and letting him, like, save his timeline and give, because he's a hope-based character, right? That's his whole thing, is he's, like, the warrior of hope, or whatever the fuck they call him. And it's awesome. You know, no other character in the series hits in quite the same way that Future Trunks does. And them going, yeah, you remember when he returned to the future and defeated the androids and defeated Cell and saved the world and was finally, for the first time in his life, able to live, like, peacefully? Well, actually, ending is so bad. I don't even have an issue with them bringing Future Trunks back in that manner. I don't have an issue with them going, there's a new threat to the future and Trunks can't handle it. Also, blue-haired Trunks I don't like. And Trunks can't handle it. So he needs to go get Goku and Vegeta. Like, sure, I'm fine with that. My issue, yeah, is the ending. It's maybe my most hated thing in DBS as well. Because there's no... He doesn't defeat Zamasu, whatever you want to call him, and then go on to live a happy life. His timeline gets erased. The thing that he fought so dearly for, like, the entire Cell Saga to so save is just lost. It's just destroyed, and all of his hard work in the original series is gone. I choose to ignore Super as canon. I'm that guy. I go like, I don't acknowledge this as canon, specifically because that ending, like, ruins Like, if we count that as canon, I think it does. So it takes so much away from the original series. Dragon Ball Ran over. Drawing Goat Tanks. Goat Tanks. I just don't think there's a way to continue Dragon Ball that like, I don't like GT, which is not really a controversial opinion. You know, I'm not a big GT fan. I honestly just think that the original series, like, that didn't need a continuation. But, you know, money. Yeah, they make him go live in a parallel universe. Even if they had decided, because Future Trunks is a fan favorite character, right? That's one of the most beloved characters in the series. And had they just been like, all right, Future Trunks comes to the main timeline and now, like, is a secondary character in the main cast. Okay, sure, whatever, right? Again, I feel like it cheapens the original story a little bit, but sorry, I got distracted. What was I saying? I think that had they gone like, all right, Future Trunks stays in the current timeline and becomes like a, you know, secondary character. Sure, great, whatever. But yeah, it's the baffling decision to go, all right, now he goes to another timeline where there's already another Trunks. And we're never gonna see him again. Yeah, I think it is fine to disregard dumb stuff. Did make some awesome stuff. I think that GT is best consumed. I've said this before. YouTube Shorts can easily gaslight you into thinking that that GT is good, because you will see like the Super Saiyan 4 stuff or like the Gogeta stuff, and you're like, oh my god, this is awesome. Like, you'll watch the Dragon Fist and you'll be like, oh my god, this is so cool. And then you sit down to watch GT and so much of it is just like lame. I love the little fusion vest, by the way. Toriyama 8 with the fusion vest. With the fusion clothes in general. I think they look so silly that they loop around and they become awesome. Oh yeah. There's a lot of weird stuff like that in my least favorite moment of GT. So I like Oob. I'm an Oob fan. He's my favorite character who is in the manga for like 5 pages. And I have a really distinct memory of Majub, right? The moment where Majin Buu reveals to Oob that Oob is like a reincarnation of the evil version of himself, and that they used to be the same guy, and now they need to once again become the same guy to save Mr. Satan. I think it is genuinely like good. I think that's an awesome idea that GT has, is Buu loves Mr. Satan so much that he's willing to like give up his personhood to Oob to make him powerful enough to save his goat. I think that's like, I think it's sick. I think it's actually so cool. This is what I'm talking about. GT, like, best consumed through isolated high moments in Aura. But then Majub does nothing. Oob, again, who is hyped up, they did the Gohan thing, where Gohan is hyped up as like the future of the series, and Goku's like heir, and then he doesn't get to be that. And that's on Toriyama. Toriyama does that. Which is one of the parts of the original series that I think a lot of people take issue with, is the fact that Gohan isn't really allowed to truly assume the mantle he's set up for in the Buu Saga. But then Oob, who is like, all right, this is the real next guy that Goku's gonna pass his legacy on, and then he gets jobbed by Baby, and Goku wins again. Like, oh my god. Hercule bromance is peak. I agree. I think that is like, I do think that that's like awesome. One of my favorite parts of the original series is Boo making his house out of people, and then like the cute little scene where he's like brushing his teeth, or he's like, you know, sitting on his chair and he's just chilling, and then Mr. Satan shows up and is like trying to. It's peak. I don't think anybody who's seen this series knows that it's awesome. His neck looks weird. Like I think his neck is too thick. I think I like almost forgot to give him a neck. I forgot to give him like a distinct like shoulder to neck. Whatever, it's all gonna look weird. Okay. His neck looks too thick. I gotta make his neck smaller, I think. This drawing thing is hard. I'm not gonna worry about drawing his collarbone, whatever. Alright. Goat tanks. Is Gotenks the coolest character in the series? He has swag. No other character has as much swag as Gotenks, I think. Stopped watching after Cell games. Think Tien should have beat Cell. That's an interesting opinion. I've not heard that one before. Because I do love, and I think everybody loves, the Tien stalling Cell. Like, knowing he's utterly outclassed, but not caring. I think that Cell is, like, is good. I think that Cell, honestly, like, I think that there are basically no things. There are actually very few things I would change about the original series. The only, because I know a lot of people are like, this should have happened, and this should have happened, and this should have happened. And like, as much as I agree, I also do think that the original series is still good. I think even with the issues I have with it, there aren't a whole lot of, because I think that you change one thing, you're gonna have to change a bunch of things. And there are a lot of people who go like, this is how I would have written Dragon Ball. And I think that's really lame to go through and like change like details about every arc instead of just appreciating the story. But if you will allow me to do the exact thing I'm complaining about, if I were to change, if you gave me like complete clear creative control over Dragon Ball, I would only change one thing. And I would have, this is like the only thing where I'm like this, because I think a lot of the changes people suggest, like, I just don't care about. I'm like, okay, the original series is great. Who cares that this like doesn't really make sense? Just leave it alone. My one change I would make is at the end, I would keep Gohan relevant till the end of the Buu Saga. I think the Spirit Bomb is a beautiful ending, so I wouldn't change that, but I think that I would have like Gohan, maybe like Gohan instead of Vegeta, stall for the Spirit Bomb. And you'd have to rewrite certain sequences to make that work as well, which is the issue. But I think that Gohan being involved in the last arc would have for me elevated that moment a little bit. But again, it's a beautiful moment. It's a great ending. Yeah, Tien is cool. Sorry, catching up on chat, finishing my monologue. I love Tien. Tien was my favorite Dragon Ball character for a long time because I read original Dragon Ball before I read, because a lot of people started with Dragon Ball Z. I actually started with Dragon Ball, so I always thought Tien was like really sick. And it is frustrating how little they do with him. And like, I get it. In the original series, Tien gets power crept kind of quickly. And again, Toriyama, I think to his credit, was not really writing in the way that a fan would. So I'm actually okay with Tien getting kind of shelved for a lot of the original series, because Toriyama didn't know what to do with him and didn't feel like he needed to include him for like fan service purposes. I'm actually okay with that. But I think if you're gonna have Dragon Ball Super, which is the fan service show, to its detriment quite frequently, I think, but is the fan service show, and you're not gonna give Tien basically anything to do, it frustrates me a little bit. You know, like I hate Dragon Ball Slopper, am I right? But I think that if you're gonna give like other characters hype moments and aura, like 17, I think is maybe the best example of that. Android 17, they give him like one of the sickest things ever in the entire series. They give Master Roshi things to do. They give I don't know, what's another underappreciated character they give things to do? Krillin. But what does Tien do? He tri-beams a few times, and he has like the worst fight in the Tournament of Power. Yeah, I've heard that there is definitely an issue with cool side characters getting shelved, and I think a lot of it has to do, especially in long form series, just with like not every character always fitting things. Like they do this a lot in comic books. I read a lot of like American like comic books. You know, like I'm a DC guy basically. I say I read comic books. I really only read the DC ones. But DC has like some of the coolest side characters and some of the most incredible world building characters out there, and then do nothing with them just because there's so many. And if you want to tell different stories, you have to exclude a lot of side characters. There's my Gotenks, by the way. Can I do him cocking like I guess not an eyebrow. Yeah, long-running series definitely are really guilty of that. Yeah, actually, I'm okay with this Gotenks. Nah, he needs a more mischievous expression. How do I make him look more mischievous? No, it looks too calm. Whatever. I'm okay with that Gotenks. There's my Gotenks. Oh man, it's been an hour and I've only done 2 drawings. Fuck me. Alright, I gotta keep going. Yeah, Roshi and Krillin getting the Pixar eyebrow, but he doesn't have eyebrows is the problem. Yeah, Roshi and Krillin getting their flowers in Dragon Ball Super is nice. I hate Resurrection F. Resurrection F is... I think if we don't count GT, if we're just counting canon material, so original Z, Super, I think Resurrection F is the worst part of the entire series. But it has its moments. Alright, now I'm going to draw... Miku. So this is brown muscles? You're right. I'm gonna draw a Miku. I'm gonna do kind of a cartoony Miku. How come I don't like Resurrection F? I just think it's like lame. I don't know. I'm gonna draw the Miku as I'm saying this, because if I sit here and rant, my issue I think with Resurrection F, I think there's a lot of minutia that I quite like, and I think in the movie a lot of the action is cool. My issue with it is it feels like there's very little impact to anything in Resurrection F. It feels like they had to follow up Battle of Gods, which I genuinely do like, with something. And they weren't quite sure what to do, so they brought back Frieza. And I do think the retcon of Frieza having always been like this crazy powerhouse, but having never... I think it does... It's a common complaint again. I think it does cheapen the original Namek arc a little bit to just bring Frieza back and go like, well, actually, he could have beat the shit out of Goku if he like really wanted to. And then Super Saiyan Blue sucks and is like, that's the moment they reveal it. I think that the whole Whis turning back time thing is kind of lame. You know, in a series where we already have basically no consequences for anything, I think that having Frieza blow up the world and then just going, undo. It sucks. I think a lot of the action is really cool, and I do like that the characters like Piccolo and Krillin get to have their moments, but I think it's just so lacking in any kind of meaningful substance. It is kind of just hype moments and aura, and if the hype moments and aura don't do a whole lot for you, didn't Trunks lay him out in like 8 seconds? Trunks did no diff Frieza in what is maybe the greatest thing ever. Resurrection have happened because the music band sung a song about Frieza. Is that the Frieza, like the song from the movie? Like, I've made her face too long. Like, I've made her too, like, potato shaped. Drawing is fucking hard. What a lad Trunks is. He's the GOAT. That Trunks. So I have a couple of favorite Dragon Ball characters that alternates between like the few characters, but Trunks is up there. Trunks is awesome. I love Trunks. I have a little Trunks keychain hanging from my my mic stand right now. Trunks was peak. Look, okay, Trunks shows up and he has the coolest fit ever. The little cropped jacket, the sword, the pants, and he goes, guess what, Frieza? I'm a Super Saiyan. And takes out an even stronger version of the last arc's main villain in a moment with his sword. And he then reveals that he's a time traveler. Like, oh my god, they made him so cool. Practice does help, yeah. I'm trying to just draw like all the time. I had somebody say to me, they're like, finish every drawing you do. If you sit down and you start to draw something and you think it fucking sucks, finish it, because that's how you improve. So I'm trying to draw a bunch, and I've not been doing it quite as much lately, but the drawing streams I think are good. That's one of the reasons I do. Future Gohan as well. Oh my god. So I'm a manga reader, and I do think that I generally prefer a lot of the manga stuff to the anime stuff, just because I think the pacing is better. But with that being said, the Future Trunks special, the History of Trunks special, I actually literally rewatched that last night, 2 nights ago. I rewatched it really recently, and it's so good. I love I think the idea that Future Gohan is like slightly stronger than the androids on their own, but loses to getting ganged up on, is I think a little bit more interesting than the manga's reveal that they could have obliterated him at any point. Future Gohan, awesome. I think that the anime, the changes that the anime makes to Future Gohan are just so good. And oh my god, the scene where, spoilers for an anime special that came out like 40 years ago, but the scene where Trunks finds, like all the scenes that you see where Trunks isn't quite able to access Super Saiyan, and Gohan says to him, like, you just need an emotional catalyst. And he says, you know, mine is like when Krillin and Piccolo died. And I think of that, and it drives me to this rage, and I explode. And that's Super Saiyan. And Trunks can't quite bring himself over that threshold. And then he finds Gohan, and he just explodes. And he clenches his fist so hard that, like, he draws blood. Like, it's beautiful. It is actually genuinely incredible. I love Future Trunks. I love Future Gohan. I used to actually have a sketchbook. I don't know if I mentioned this before on the channel. I used to have a sketchbook when I was a kid, and all I would do in that sketchbook is I would like draw. I'll show you exactly how I would draw. I would draw the same like template every time, because I remember it like really distinctly. It honestly kind of goes on to inspire some of the artwork I do for like this channel. Is I would draw this. And then I'd fill in the details, right? So in this sketchbook, I would draw like superheroes, like DC Comics characters that I liked, and I'd draw Trunks. So I'll draw Trunks as an example. And it was a sketchbook, and it was literally like hundreds of pages of just like Batman and Trunks and like Wonder Woman. That's another character I love. Like, there are a couple of characters, you know, there are characters I like, but then there are characters that, like, I go feral thinking about, because I just think they're so fucking cool. Wonder Woman is one of them. Wonder Woman is fucking awesome. Like, yeah, Batman is cool, and Superman is cool, and I love those characters. You know, I've got a Batman poster on my wall. Like, I love Batman, I love Superman, but there's something, like, Wonder Woman has a hell yeah factor that I just don't think the other two have. Like, Wonder Woman to me is like a fuck yeah character. It's a cool sketchbook. I wish I could find it. I think I threw it out at some point. Because I was like, no, I am an adult now. I do not think Wonder Woman is cool anymore. So this is what I would draw. It was just like hundreds of pages like this. And I draw Captain America, and I'd always draw... So the most iconic Captain America shield at this point, because it was the one in the movies, is like this one, right? But I always really liked this one. You know, and that's got like, you know, I like the stars and bars here, as the Americans say. I always loved this shield quite a bit more than I liked the circular one. So I would always draw Captain America with that shield because I thought it was cool. One of the cool things, this is something that I didn't really start thinking about until I started drawing, is one of the cool things about like drawing things is that you get to make little tweaks to characters as you so decide. So sometimes I'll draw Trunks and I'll draw him like powering up, right? So his hair is sticking up. And every time I do, a small detail I like to add that I think is cool. You guys don't have to think it's cool if you don't think it's cool, if you think it's lame. But, oh, that's a bad face, whatever. So one thing I'll always do is I'll draw Trunks powering up. I'll draw like a really shitty Trunks. I'll draw Trunks powering up. Or I gotta draw him powering up, so he's gotta be like angry eyes, right? Now I'll draw him powering up, and when I draw his like hairline, I'll give him the little Vegeta dip. Not quite as exaggerated, right, as Vegeta's is, but I think giving him just a little like widow's peak makes him look like his dad a little bit, which is something I like to do. I like to draw like that. That's one of the cool things, again, I love about learning things, learning art forms, is learning where you're going to place your own creativity into it. One of the things that changed my brain when I was learning music is the idea of grace notes. So the idea, instead of a melody going like, right, you can go like, and throw in a bunch of little grace notes and ornaments onto it. I love that. I'm like the ornament god. I'm the ornament goat. I love just throwing fucking grace notes and slides and shit onto music. What was I drawing? Miku. I was drawing Miku. To give her cool bangs. This is maybe the most conversational stream I've ever had, because I'm catching myself doing the thing where, and I do this in real life as well, like when I hang out with like people, is I'll talk a bunch and then I'll just like sit there for just a moment. I'll be like, I'm talking too much, but it's a stream. That's the point. What song is this? I know this one. What is that? We're at 302 in this video. So that's Twin Leaf Town. Yeah, it is Twin Leaf Town. Spirits of conversation at certain intervals. Yeah, it's beautiful. Actually, I should have the what do you call it? Ponytail, twin tail. I should have it coming like, you know, more like that. And like her head. Actually, I think there should be a little bit more like texture on top of her head. You know, make it look a little bit more like hair. Although now she has like a weird fucking egg head. Wait. Give her like weird Dragon Ball hair. Oh fuck! How does one approach this? It's like really small details, I think, just so it doesn't look like her hair is like, you know, flat on her head entirely. That's one thing, because I have a lot of hair. I have like, how far is it? It's like past my shoulders at this point. And so when I shower, it takes a long time to dry, and even once it does dry, it doesn't look great. It takes a little bit to kind of poof back up. So I like plan my, like when I shower based around when I'm next going to like go out, because I hate going out in public with like the flat hair. Weezer Enjoyer lore. You guys getting cool Weezer Enjoyer lore today. Alright. I think I've made her head too round. I've made her like head too big and her face too small. 1 second. Miku 2. I'm gonna do an even sillier, even more cartoony Miku. I'm gonna draw the head first. We gotta get sillier. We gotta get goofier. 1 second. Oh god, this is even rounder! Ah! Miku speedrun, Miku speedrun. Miku speedrun. Charizard has Earthbound pilled? Yeah, I agree. Miku speedrun, Miku speedrun. Tie. Cool shirt. Skirt. Little weird, like, cyber hair tie things. Miku speedrun, new world record. PB. I gotta stretch. Sorry if you guys hear me go like, eh, because I'm stretching. Oh man, I always forget how weirdly straining sitting down is on your body until I do these streams where I'm sitting in one spot. Because I'm a pacer. I'm an adjuster. So I will like stand up and pace a lot, or I'll like adjust a million times in my seat. But when I'm doing a stream, pardon me, and I'm basically just sitting here drawing and talking without break, I'm like, oh god, why am I so tight all of a sudden? Because I just haven't stretched. She's flipping us off. Oh, she is. Oh yeah, let's make that more obvious. That's fucking awesome. That wasn't even intentional, but that's awesome. I'm gonna color this one in because she's very rude. What an asshole. Bodies aren't meant to sit for long periods of time. Yeah, I think about that quite frequently. You know what I think about a lot is the fact that like everything is just made up. Like so many things that we take as absolute certainties are really just like social contracts made thousands of or hundreds of years before our birth. That's really interesting to think about. Like I sometimes stop and like contextualize my activities within the grander scheme of things, and let's think about how fucking crazy this shit is, right? I'm sitting here in old Canada, in old Canada, and I am moving a piece of plastic, right? Some kind of like synthetic material across another bit of synthetic material that is sending signals through coiled metal into a collection of plastics and minerals and electricity that then it turns that into a little drawing on my screen. And then that is being turned into like abstract machine language and being sent through this massive series of wires all around the world for your viewing pleasure. It's kind of fucking crazy to think about the fact that, like, you know, my ancestors 300 years ago, like, lived in dirt and ate fish, and now here I am live streaming myself drawing a virtual singer to many people. It's just nuts. I don't know. I get in my head a lot about stuff like that, just how like crazy the world is and how complex it really is. One second, I'm gonna actually just like Smiku color. That's probably fun. And I'm gonna actually like color the skin in. You know what I think about a lot? Like anytime I do, it is crazy how things just work. Yeah, I'm with you. There is something just absurd about existence. You know, there's an absurdity, I think, to even the concept of like life. Because we as humans, we're so cognitively advanced that we're able to conceptualize things like, you know, meaning or complexity. A fucking dog doesn't think about, you know, any of this. Your dog's not sitting here going like, man, like, isn't it crazy how we can like sit in a metal box and then a little machine will explode a bunch of times and that'll get us from place to place. Dogs don't think about that. It is a unique human. I'm not sure what word I'm looking for, but it is uniquely human to ponder existence. I don't know. It's a fucked up world. What time is it? Okay, yeah, I can keep going. All right, let's draw Wonder Woman. I feel like I keep bringing up Wonder Woman. I brought up Wonder Woman once. We're going to draw Wonder Woman. We're going to draw Absolute Wonder Woman. Oh, have you guys read Absolute Wonder Woman? It's fucking awesome. I love Absolute Wonder Woman. They gave her a fucking Final Fantasy sword. It's actually so cool. You know, everybody's out here talking about Absolute Batman. And Absolute Batman is good. I like Absolute Batman. I've been reading Absolute Batman. However, Absolute Wonder Woman is awesome, and I think better than Absolute Batman. But you know what comic is even better still? Because Absolute Wonder Woman, I think, is the best Absolute comic if we're thinking like traditional superhero comic, right? I think it's great. I think it does a lot of cool, unique things with the character. Oh man, the art is so good. Allow me for a moment to discuss Absolute Wonder Woman's art. You can tell that it's vaguely inspired, particularly when they draw like Diana. Yeah, Wonder Woman and I are buddies. I call her Diana. That they're drawing her from like ancient Greek art. Like, you know, when you see Greek art on the side of like a vase or whatever, they draw her to look like that, like a very classical Greek beauty, as opposed to just like a modern, you know, supermodel. I think is really cool. But they also like, just the story is so cool, and the way that they like reinvent her character, so it still feels like Wonder Woman, but it's still like fresh. It's awesome. It's great. It's the best of the Absolute comics that is just a straight ahead conventional superhero comic. However, Absolute Martian Manhunter might be the best comic I've read in the last couple of years. I struggle to think of anything that I've read in the last, I don't know, 5 years that is as good as Absolute Martian Manhunter. And now it's not done yet, so it might still shit the bed. But I think that it's just so unique in its art, in its thought process. It's just so good. And I actually do think that it being an absolute comic and knowing that it will have to eventually tie into the other ones and a whole crossover, I think that kind of takes away from it. I feel like it would benefit almost more from being like a Tom King Mr. Miracle, where it's just allowed to be its own thing. But I digress. It's really good. Go read Absolute Martian Manhunter. It's the best one, and nobody's reading it because everybody's too busy talking about Batman. And again, Batman's good. I don't mind the Batman comic. It is just, you know, Batman's the only character anybody talks about. My goat, Diana, left in the dust. Wonder Woman's cool because she's gay. She's been gay since like the 1930s. What's his name? William Marston? William Marshall Mathers? Whatever that guy's name was. He was like, this is my comic book character who is a woman. And they were like, that is a little bit strange that you are making a comic book character who is a woman. Well, what will her ideology be? And he's like, she loves non-violence. She loves solving things peacefully. And they were like, I do not think that will sell. I do not think that somebody who is an emissary of peace will sell. And he was like, she's also bisexual. And they're like, what? It's crazy. It's so funny. We stand. We have no choice but to stand in truth. Three cheers for Wonder Woman? Yeah, I agree. I agree. One of my favorite exchanges in any comic book. Oh, there was this really weird fucking comic book that DC put out in like early 2000s, I think. I think it was whenever Obama... Who's the fucking guy? The Mormon guy? Romney? Mitt Romney? Mitt Romney. Whenever Obama and Mitt Romney, I think, were having their election. And they had this weird comic where Superman was like going around to different superheroes and going like, who are you gonna vote for? Like, what issues are important to you? And it was really fucking weird because it was like, I think it was Green Arrow and a Wonder Woman were like, I'm going to be voting Democrat. And then they were like, Batman is going to vote Republican, which is very funny to me. But I remember that really distinctly because because that was at the time, and unfortunately we're backsliding a little bit into this, where, not a little bit, we're backsliding into this, where like gay people were seen as like political, and you know, unfortunately now are once more, but there was a short period where that wasn't happening, but at least here. But there's a section where Wonder Woman officiates a lesbian wedding, and Clark goes like, I didn't know you were pro-gay marriage, and Wonder Woman just looks at him and goes like, I'm from an island full of women, you fucking weirdo. It's awesome. It's peak. Did I put this too high up on her head? Yeah, I think so. I think it needs to rest more like on her ears, right? Yeah, anyway, stan Wonder Woman. By the way, the BT dubs. Or maybe no, maybe that was a good spot for it. I'm trying to think of how things like sit on your face. Stan Lee? Yo! I remember when I was a little kid, I remember asking somebody, I was like, who's the guy who made Spider-Man? And they were like, oh, that was Stan Lee. And I was like, Stan Lee who? That's the whole story. I did the thing again. I zoomed in so much and now my art's all fucking pixely. Wait, I'm gonna do something. I'm gonna make it bigger. And it's gonna look shitty and pixely, but whatever. Now I can get the finer details. Am I gonna go... I'll go over this. I'll redo these lines. So any other comic book heads in the chat, I do not like the New 52, which I think is a pretty popular opinion these days. The whole New 52 reboot, it's had its moments, but I think that for the most part it was just kind of like not very good. But I did like that Wonder Woman thing. The idea that like the bracelets are there to limit her power. And that like she can take them off and achieve like some kind of like crazy like super mega form. That was kind of cool. That's all I have to say about that. Oh, that's fucked up. Okay, wait, whatever. I'll fix it. Fuck me. I hate art. I hate art. I hate art. Says guy who streams art every Wednesday. Every Wednesday, 5 p.m. Eastern. Come out to the art stream. I always feel like such a fucking loser when I tell people. I'm like, I try to avoid telling people that I stream because I feel like so many people stream, and I feel like the immediate assumption when like your coworker or your like acquaintance or your friend or whatever says yeah I stream is that you assume they like sit in a Twitch chat with no viewers like on their own for 3 hours. So I always try to avoid telling people that I stream. I don't know why though. Like I'm so weirdly insecure about it. So when I do like plug the stream like verbally, I'm so used to typing it out. When I plug the stream verbally, I'm always like, guys, like come to the stream. Like I say it out loud normally at the end of another stream. I always feel so like cringe. Like I'm making her face too round. She's gotta have a jaw, I think. You aren't a loser? Nah. No, I'm not saying I'm a loser. Don't worry. I'm not self-deprecating on stream. So you guys go like, no, like Wizard, you're cool. I know I'm not a loser. I know I'm the coolest fucking guy ever. But I just know that like sometimes when you tell people in real life that you stream, they do just like make weird assumptions about you, what you stream, and like the nature of your stream. Really into Marvel? Marvel is cool. I do like Marvel. Like I love Spider-Man. Everybody loves Spider-Man. My issue with Marvel is always just like if I am going to keep up with like comic books. There are people who keep up with both Marvel and DC, which is insane to me. But I like even barely struggle quite a bit to keep up with the DC titles, and even then I only read a couple. So I don't think I could also keep up with Marvel as well. But you know, I'll read the Marvel like limited series or whatever. She needs a jaw. Where's her jaw? What the fuck? More angles. Weezer, enjoy your third strike. So jaw comes down, and then ooh. Oh, cool, you're streaming. Can you tell me your channel? Yeah, exactly. Well, ooh, and then it then arises, oh, you stream? What's your YouTube channel called? Oh, it's called Weezer Enjoyer. Oh. Can I go more angular? Because I have this reference image here that I don't think you guys can see because it's on like the overlay. So there's the art, the canvas that you see, and then there's like a couple of overlays for like the layers and the reference images. And I don't know how to get you guys to be able to see that, but the reference image I'm seeing, like she has a really defined jawline, and I'm trying to figure out how to achieve that same artistic effect because I think it looks fucking awesome. Shout out to women with defined jawlines. Am I right? Maybe I do like an angle here and then I like. How long has the stream been going on? Welcome Bone, by the way. About an hour and a half, I think. I'm trying to draw Wonder Woman, but I can't figure. I need her to have a jaw that like cuts glass. Cuts glass? Is that a thing people say? Jawline that could cut glass? Or am I conflating two different sayings in my mind? Maybe if I give her a point to your chin, it'll create the illusion of a stronger jawline. Oh god. Oh god, I fucking hate art. Wait. And then angle. That looks like shit. Okay, I'm gonna try one more time. I'm gonna zoom in on the face in this reference image, and then I'm gonna give up. Try to draw a mouth, then start from the angular V shape underneath it. Cut diamonds. I think you're right. Okay, draw a mouth. Here's her mouth. And then angular V shape. Something like that. Oh, that, yeah. You're a fucking genius. Wait, okay. So this is the, like, the starting of the jawline. Then here's her mouth. Let's say, like, here, right? Is that too low? Because her eyes would be, like, here, right? So her nose would be, like, here. That looks okay. I think I'll survive with that. Okay, we're gonna go... Ooh, wait. And then that's like asymmetrical, so we have to... I think I need to lead this in a little bit more though. Like now it feels like too comically... Oh god, it's so hard. Wait. Okay, we'll go with something like that, and I'll clean it up in chunks. I'll just kind of like go through, and when it starts to look off, I'll clean it up a little bit. Okay, we'll go with this. That's okay. And I don't want to stand here. Stand here? I don't want to sit here. I don't want a gamer hunch here for an hour, redrawing the jawline over and over again. All right. Okay, let's draw her eyes now. So somebody said to me, I think it was last stream, eyes are like roughly here-ish, like top of the eyes. Mojojo? What's Mojojo? I don't know what this is. I have to Google this. 1 second. Why? What the fuck is up with my phone? Okay, there we go. Wait, Mojo. Oh, Mojo Jojo. Yeah, from fucking Powerpuff Girls. Yeah. I see it. Actually, I'll do the... Yeah, and it looks like her face is too small for her head. Fuck me. Okay. We'll fix that. Let's fix that. I think I have made her... I've given her too much head and not yet enough face. So let's actually start. Make sure that these are kind of roughly... Lasso face, make it bigger. That's actually a better idea than fucking redrawing the whole thing. Bigger. Is that too big? Is that better? Okay, whatever. She kind of looks like a fucking ape. She kind of has like a weird like cartoon monkey face. Alright, now we draw the hair. Oh, I'm on the wrong layer. I forgot I've made like 300 layers. 1 second. I gotta merge them all together. And then let's have some of the hair like kind of come over the tiara, so it looks fucking cool. Yeah, give her like fucking cool Dragon Ball bangs. Yeah, that's kind of why I'm doing these streams, is literally just because like I want to get better at art, and I have to like put the hours in, and doing like an art stream, you know, roughly every week is I think probably a solid way to do that, right? To kind of force myself to practice and force myself to improve. Keeps me accountable on some level. And then one day I will be able to draw Wonder Woman. I've drawn better Wonder Woman than this. I'll show you guys when I'm done with this one. I'll show you guys a Wonder Woman I drew. It was a couple of months ago, I think. It was when I had first started reading Absolute Wonder Woman. And I drew Wonder Woman that I think is better than this. But also I could be misremembering, because quite frequently I'll draw something and I'll be like, this is like really good, I should show this to everybody. And then I look at it like a month later and I'm like, ooh, this fucking dog shit. It's awesome. I've also really been enjoying, what is this shit called? Hatching? Where instead of coloring something in, you just draw 3 million lines. I think it looks fucking awesome. It gives me a very, like, comic book vibe, which I quite like. Follow me on Twitter? Hell yeah. Oh god, now I have to start posting on my Twitter again. Fuck. I, like, never use that. Where I tend to post the art here, or where I tend to post the art rather, is here on YouTube. I use like the community tab to post a lot of my art. And normally it's stuff that I spend a little bit longer on. That's also one of the issues with the art streams. Although probably one of the benefits though, is it forces me to draw quickly. Because like I drew a Vegeta yesterday, and it took me like so long. Yeah, big hatching fan here. I've also been loving, like, I did this with the Vegeta drawing as well, is when I was drawing his tail, I, instead of drawing, you know, like, it's a shitty tail, I can do better than that. Instead of drawing, like, a tail like this, right, or whatever, what I've been loving doing lately is drawing stuff with, like, a series of really messy lines. I think it looks really cool. I'll show you guys that one in a second as well. Alright, there's my Wonder Woman. I was gonna do like a full drawing, but I'm running out of gas. Okay, let me show you, one second, let me show you the, I'll show you the other Wonder Woman I drew. I have a couple of Wonder Woman. So I have 3 files on here, 3 different drawings, and they're called Wonder Woman, Wonder Woman 2, and Wonder Woman My Goat. Oh, and then Wonder Woman Absolute. I have 4 Wonder Woman on here. So this is probably the one I was talking about. One second, it's loading. Okay, yeah. This is it. I drew this a few months ago, and I think it's better than what I just drew. But I also think I have gotten better since I drew this. But that's the Wonder Woman I drew previously. What do the other ones look like? I know one of them looks like absolutely terrible. Let me see if I can find the really bad one. Okay, this one's not bad. This one's actually, this was the same night. I drew 2 Wonder Woman that night. This one's okay as well. Where's the really bad one? I drew a really bad one. One second. I guess it's probably just Wonder Woman normal, right? As opposed to My Goat or Absolute. Oh yeah, this one looks like shit. One second. I drew this one. This is one I drew a month or 2 into drawing. It looks really fucking bad. I've gotten better since this. Thank fucking God. Fucked up, scary anime eyes. Because I couldn't figure out how to draw eyes. So I was like, I'm just going to give her like shitty anime eyes. It's just fucked up. I don't know. It looks so bad. What else? Oh yeah, the Vegeta. The Vegeta I was actually really proud of. So I drew this yesterday. Or maybe 2 days ago. And originally, because I posted it on the YouTube community tab, but I just posted it like this, like without the background. And I thought that it didn't quite give the effect I wanted. So what I did was I went back and I drew this background. And I think it makes it a little bit more obvious that the orb, the power ball, is like the source of the light. This, I think, is probably the best thing I've drawn so far, for whatever my opinion's worth. This was the first thing I drew. I drew this, and it was either last night or the night before. It was recently. And I was like, okay, wait. Because I think this actually looks kind of cool. And it was one of the first things I drew where I was like, this actually looks kind of sick. Because I had drawn a Goku before. A lot of Dragon Ball art. That's why that guy on Fight Cave was like, you're the guy who draws Dragon Ball. Super Saiyan. Is it this Super Saiyan? Is this it? No, okay. I can't find the drawing. I did a drawing of Goku a little while ago that I thought was like good, and now I look back and I'm like, this isn't very good. But I think that this Vegeta is probably the best thing I've drawn. Yeah, light on the armor. I tried to do that because I still struggle to really get how shading works. But at least I kind of understand the rationale, whereas before, for a long time, I just like didn't fucking get it. Like at that shitty Wonder Woman drawing, I was just putting random dark spots in places. Whereas I think when I was drawing this, I was thinking, I was like, okay, so this is the light. I don't know if you can see my cursor. I'll mark it up. 1 second. I'll make a new marking out layer. Right, so I was thinking like, okay, this is the light source, right? So the shading on like his face would be really light here, and then it would be darker here. And then like, you know, the armor, I was really happy with the way this turned out, like this kind of bicep shoulder section. Because I really struggled because his arm is like here, right? Like his forearm. And I was really struggling to think of how the light would hit the bicep and then also the back of the hand. But I'm really happy with the way this turned out. And this is like the first thing I've drawn that I'm like, okay, this is like good. Like I can show this to people and it won't just be like, oh, that's okay, I guess. Like this is the first thing I've drawn that I'm genuinely really happy with. Which means it's all uphill from there, which is awesome. There's the Weezer Enjoyer art rundown. There's the Weezer Enjoyer talks about his own art. Well, it's been 2 hours. I have to go eat and use the bathroom, and then I have to sit down and play Third Strike because I sat down to record footage for this week's main video, like Monday video, the long video, and I sat down to record that, and I was just in such like a rough mood. I don't, like, not in a bad mood, just I couldn't, like, I wasn't talking. I was just sitting there going, nice, yeah, cool. So I think that now that I've streamed and now I'm all socially warmed up, let's say, I'm gonna go be able to record. So I'm gonna go eat, use the bathroom, record some Third Strike. So if anybody wants to snipe me on Third Strike, I'm gonna be recording in like an hour. Weed Eater's here, my goat. Yeah, well, Weed Eater tuned in at the exact actual ending of the stream. But I think I'm gonna call it now. I'm going to leave. But thank you all for coming. For anybody who's new, I do these art streams every Wednesday generally, and then I'm gonna do Street Fighter on Sunday. I will see you all later. Farewell. Thank you all for dropping by and helping me draw the jawline and stuff. And I will see you all next time. Farewell.